Hey, we thought we'd try a little session about frequently asked questions. And maybe we'll start out at a level 1. And I think one of a frequently asked question at a level 1 is, what's the exam or the assessment now called, or what's the day entail? What's that like?
Well, region to region, it could be a 1-day or it could be a 2-day exam. So it's a great question to ask your assessor at the beginning, and they'll be able to break out the day so that you can prepare for what you need at lunch, or if you need to stash extra layers somewhere, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. That information will be, you can find that at the snowpros.org.
Yep.
And they'll definitely be able to give you a link to the regional office, and that information will be perfectly clear by the end of that phone call.
Yeah. So the day kind of depends on region to region. At this point, the goal is to kind of assimilate the processes together and have a similar process here within a few years. But the goal is to get check with the region, check with your training manager, and they can lay out what that day looks like. But typically, Troy, in the East Coast, what does it entail?
Boy, first day is a lot of skiing. We tend to try to run through all the assessment activities at least twice, just so we get a good baseline of what you guys look like when you're skiing, what you might need to practice a little bit more. There's a lot of information that's received and given during that day, so it's important to be in that learning mode and performance mode all at the same time for that first day.
How would you manage that for a level 1 candidate, the learning mode and the performance mode? How would you manage that, Meagan?
Well, I think you have to realize at level 1, there is a lot of collaboration, which is different to level 2 and 3. But hopefully we are imparting as much knowledge as they already come prepared with. So that's how I think of managing that.
Yeah, that's a good point, that collaboration piece. Troy, what about in that vein, what should you expect out of the person that is your either assessor, examiner? What should you kind of predict that interaction to be like?
That interaction, we work very hard as an association of bringing people to a calm level to be able to get to see their best performances. And it's so important that when we as an assessor come up to you and say, hey, maybe try a little bit of this, it's not that you're doing something wrong. It's that maybe this next little bit would be just that extra bit of perfection. And just to see if you can ski a little bit better or a little bit cleaner in an activity. There's a lot of learning that goes on that. These guys and gals that are so passionate about seeing good ski instruction, they can't help but, really give a lot of information and help you perform better, for sure.
So you should expect a little bit of coaching during the course of your day at a level 1.
At a level 1.
Yeah.
At a level 1. Very different story at level 2 and level 3, for sure. It's that is a different animal completely. But level 1, expect to come out with a lot more or a better understanding and a better application, hopefully.
Yeah. To about what level of skiing are level 1 candidates responsible for, Meagan?
We expect at level 1 that you should be able to perform a basic parallel turn on blue terrain. And adapting that throughout an exam scenario is very realistic. So depending on the group of people that you show up on that day with, you might be skiing some blue groomed or maybe blue off-piste terrain if everybody looks strong enough.
Yeah, okay. So be prepared to be on something that is blue groomed, at least at a minimum, and maybe an easy black.
Maybe an easy black.
If the snow conditions are good?
If the snow conditions are good, that's not a bad place to go and explore.
Yeah.
Just to go and see. More than likely, you're not going to run an assessment activity on that, but it's always fun to just go and ski and get the cobwebs out of your head.
I think at level 1, 2, and 3, people get nervous. And it's okay to be nervous as long as you don't let nervous get in the way of performance. But we did get a question that says, at a level 1, and it would apply for level 2 or 3, I think. What happens if I fall? Because it happens. So, what happens? What goes on in an examiner's brain that is different from the candidate's brain when a fall happens? I don't know. Maybe Meagan, you take the candidate's brain and you express what it's like if you fell if you were the candidate.
Well, this is very real life because
Okay.
I have crashed in an exam.
Oh, perfect. So
Yes.
you know you can empathize.
Yes, no, I have empathy.
And Troy, you'll take the frame of mind of the examiner.
Yeah.
All right, ready? Go.
And I think as long as you can pick yourself back up and learn from whatever it was that you did and save it, providing it doesn't happen over and over again,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a knock against you. Of course, you're going to be nervous and you'll be like, I just, that's it. I failed. That's the mindset.
There's no coming back.
There's no coming back. But the reality of it is a tiny little piece of that day. And there is no amount of 3 seconds that can equal a fail.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to just let that go, like water off a duck's back, and just keep moving and keep moving forward.
Yeah. Troy, from an examiner point of view?
Yeah. When I watch, I've seen candidates fall, and first and foremost, I want to make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Any assessment, it's a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal if someone gets hurt. After that, 1 fall, no big deal. 2 falls, not really that big deal. But if we start seeing a pattern that causes that fall, now I'm starting to pay a little bit more close attention to the movement pattern. It's like, what's causing this person to have such trouble in their performances? That's probably going to score pretty low. But a 1, 2, if you tip over once or twice, anything leading up to the fall is great. Anything after the fall is great. The fall does not make its way onto the scorecard.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. It's a difficult thing to process that mentally. That, I mean, you've got so much invested on this thing, and you tip over and you think, oh, that's the end of the world. But really, it's about calming the voices in your head, as you say, recollecting yourself, and then from the examiner's point of view, just, are you okay? And then, okay, take the time you need, and now let's proceed.
Yeah, you've got to think progress, not perfection. It's not the end of the world. And as a candidate, you've just got to know, just move on and learn from it.
You know, as it pertains to a level, again, as a level 1 assessment, but I feel like it's probably a good question for or from level 2 candidates or level 3 candidates is, how do I handle something when I'm asked to do something that I've never seen before in an assessment? How do you go about managing that?
Well, sometimes, yeah, that does happen. And if you don't see an activity, or if you've never seen that activity, we're going to give you more than 1 shot at it. We will give you a time to kind of get your head around the activity, and then we'll go live and say, hey, we're going to watch this one for real. That's great. If you mess it up, there's always time at the end that sometimes we can get another shot, maybe a 3rd shot at an activity to make you feel better. And it's always important to be able to take advantage of those.
Yeah. Do you think that does hold true or should hold true for a level 2 or 3 assessment?
I think that holds true for a level 2 or 3. If you haven't seen it before, which I think is highly unlikely, because at
Fair
level
enough.
2 and 3, you're
Yep.
coming usually more prepared because you've been through the process.
Yep.
However, from region to region, sometimes maneuvers and assessment activities are called different things.
Yeah.
So I would ask questions for clarity and watch your assessor for the demo.
Yeah. Great points. Here's a commonly asked question at a level 2. I just failed. Now what?
First and foremost, take the time and stick around and talk to the assessors. That is so valuable. There's so much more knowledge and understanding, then they might be able to explain it a little differently or the feedback a little bit differently, but take the time and stay around after the assessment. Talk to the assessor. They are more than willing to have that conversation with you. They'll do their best to try to give you all the information that will help you be more successful at the next assessment.
Level 3, I failed because I can't do hop turns.
Yes, that is like the number one
Yeah.
most commonly said thing.
Okay.
I can't do hop turns. I failed because I can't do hop turns.
Okay, so if that's the most common that you hear, I failed because I can't do hop turns, how do you reply to that? Because you know that it's not the case.
Absolutely.
It's not the hop turns that are the challenge. It's what goes in to make go for it, Meagan.
Oh, you've maybe you haven't failed because you can't do hop turns. You failed because you have failed to demonstrate your understanding and application of the fundamentals that make it possible to do a hop turn.
Did you hear that? Say that again. No, it's important. We all said it's important. Say that again.
You haven't failed because you can't do a hop turn. You failed because you don't understand and you can't apply the fundamentals that make it possible to do a hop turn.
Yeah. Troy?
I can't add to that. That's perfect.
So when it comes to looking at these, you don't fail because of one maneuver. You fail because of a tendency on your integration or application of the fundamentals to produce the maneuvers. And we see it all the time, that people are good at what they do, the way they do it, but we have a standard, we have criteria, we have explanations, and we have assessment activities. We have all that information. That means that you got to go through it and do it the way that it's being asked. So you don't fail because you can't do hop turns. Hey, we're here with the most commonly asked questions for level 3. And that is, I can do what I can do really well. But I'm finding, or I'm learning through the assessment activities, that I'm not as adaptable or versatile as I think that I am. But I don't feel like I need that versatility because I can ski anywhere on the mountain. How do we respond to a question that says, how come I have to be able to do it this way or that way?
Every guest that we end up having an interaction with might not ski like us. And I need to go and ski like them. And if they don't ski if I can't do that, they're not going to be able to gain much value from that 3-hour, all day long clinic, whatever it is. So I need to be able to show that I can adapt my movement pattern to any guest that I have on any mountain.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
That's a huge point. That's a huge point. Be adaptable, be versatile.
Okay, gang, let's get back on the hill.